It's really great to see you all here. So to get started, I'm Joel Hames. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Subject.ai. For the last 15 years, I've been working in EdTech, trying to build better products for our kids and for our teachers. I remember the day we literally brought the internet into our first classroom. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about, well, AI today. Diane.
Hi, good morning. I'm Diane Fox. I am with Achieve Education Group, and who we are is we're an education management organization. Like Joel, remember the internet, and I went and I got trained on this thing called, the internet and how to search. That was a game changer. We were all scared to death of what this was going to do to our kids. Spell check, we were worried about spell check. Oh my gosh, the children will not be able to spell. So really excited to talk to you about AI. I was telling Joel this morning, 3 years ago, I wrote policy around AI, 3 years ago, because I was playing with it, and I had heard that some kids were playing with it.
There's still a lot of unknown. What does it mean for how we handle our information, the critical student staff data that passes through these systems every day? What does it mean for the foundational skill development that we're accustomed to? How is that evolving and changing? Because these questions are still largely unsettled, we're gathered to grapple with those. What is it that we can do to make things incrementally better, or incrementally better for our students specifically? So we have students in our schools who, by the way, are simultaneously, and we at Subject have had these conversations with many of our students, simultaneously using AI to do rudimentary tasks, try to just skip through their actual basic academic work, but on the other hand, we'll tell you they're tired of AI slop. Do we truly feel like we still have equitable access to the tools, to the technologies, and to the systems that are going to make our students successful? Maybe we've solved parts of it. We've solved some of the access issues, but the training, the implementation into the curriculum, our instructional strategies still vary greatly. And it still is a conversation, and now we've inserted AI into this topic.
What I think needs to happen are tools like AI, where the teacher can fundamentally put in some data sources and ask AI to generate extension activities for a student profile who looks like this and needs this. What could we do to address those gaps? Here's the reality. Our teachers don't get paid enough to spend 2 hours trying to think up aligned lessons or aligned small group or aligned work to raise ceilings or to address gaps. They don't get paid enough, and there's not enough hours in the day, so we have to use tools of efficiency, and that's what we've been able to do.
It's an interesting thing, having lived half my career in my schools and half my career now in kind of the private sector and the ed tech side. In our company, it is not optional to use AI. So what's fascinating is I have a 16-year-old junior in high school, and he's in a very high-performing high school. I'm very fortunate that that's the case. And he's getting zero access, zero encouragement, zero capability development around AI. It's both a policy problem, instructional problem, where do we fit it into the instructional day? And frankly, it's also an issue with teachers. Not individual teachers, I love our teachers, but rather with the encouragement and the ability to say it's now non-negotiable that we're going to figure out how to incorporate this, not just for the advancement of skills and thinking, but also for lifelong preparation. What happens in a world where direct instruction is available 24/7 to every student? What does that mean? What happens to teachers? What are their responsibilities? And I think the biggest part of this is, are we planning for this shift or are we avoiding it? How do we safeguard and protect the critical and important data that comes through our system? What are we sharing and what are we doing as a company to make sure that we're protective of this really important data? We have seen data breaches affect our financial landscape, we've seen them affect education, we've seen all of this. And yet every single day, I'm confident in all of our schools, there's information being shared about very specific individuals and issues they're experiencing, and they're going out to unprotected, unregulated systems. We have a fundamental responsibility around are data ethics and privacy. How do you balance the creative ideation and potential acceleration and enhancement of the learning experience that could come from using a chat GPT with the kind of fundamental responsibility you have to protect data?
Well, first of all, we have a lot of students that are using AI, right? You have a lot of teachers, administrators using AI, and no one wants to talk about it. But until we actually find out how teachers are using it, we're not going to get ahead of it. We're not going to be able to create the supports around data and privacy until we really understand who's using it and how are they using it and how can we help. We can come up with a policy that says if you're using AI, don't use the student's name. Certainly don't put in the parent's name. Don't use a social security number. But we're never going to understand data potential breaches if we don't understand how teachers are using it.
What is your risk tolerance? Because if it's 0%, then you're not using any tools. I mean, you wouldn't even be using Google Apps for education, to be honest, or any online system. So we have some tolerance. We put guardrails in place. Where is that line when it can have a massive potential impact on time savings, on insight generation, and on my overall ability to service students? Where's that line? We want to pull through the foundational skills and think about the destination. The destination, the higher order thinking, yes, dare I say critical thinking skills that are required are the goal now, more so than ever before. Because what that does is it pulls us through literacy, it pulls us through numeracy into the end goal. We do the incremental checks that they can read. We still have to do these things. They can write, they can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. What we're suggesting now is in a world where the construction of information is wholly different than it was for any of us growing up, that we got to get to that critical thinking. Higher order thinking skills become the foundational skills. They need to be able to discern truth from fiction. They need to be able to discern sources and what they're being led to and what the implications are.
If you're curious about the ways that my system has used subject AI to provide content for kids and how teachers are using it, we probably are the most aggressive user cases that you have. Get a hold of me and we can start a dialogue no matter where you're at. Whether it's subject AI or you said something about something that I want to know more about, please reach out. Yeah. And I think the same for you and your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Joel at subject.com. Let's continue the conversation. Would love to. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.